Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Show. The show is about conversations that matter, transforming lives one story at a time. And we invite people from all walks of life to come on the show and share their heart stories, their stories of transformation and upliftment. And I'm so excited to have an amazing individual who's been, making great strides in the community. He was on the show a few years back, and he's back again with some more great news. Robert J. Moore is a therapist. He's a 5-time internationally awarded bestseller, speaker, business coach, and a publisher. Guinness World Record holder that has impacted the lives of many through the work associated with Magnetic Entrepreneur, Inc. And Robert has impacted the lives of over 140,000 people through an emotional tale that has provided insights on how to determine one's worth and create a life worthy of joy and success. Robert, welcome back to the show.
How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you, and congratulations on all your success. Really, you've been working so hard, and it's paid off. Definitely.
Sometimes you work so hard that you actually get yourself sick while doing it, so you run yourself down so bad. That's what happened with the Guinness World Record. I literally worked 18 hours a day, literally 18 hours a day, 12 months, and it was just like when I got to the Guinness World Record event February 15th, I ended up getting sicker than a dog. But I just had someone else be the MC of it, and we still all won. So, but I was still there, shining and smiling.
Absolutely. I mean, just a testament of your determination, and I really want people, I know your story, but I really would love for you to share a little bit about how you've just overcome so much. So could you tell us a little bit about your background leading up to what you're doing today?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I personally don't have nothing to hide. I mean, I wrote my first book that I've ever wrote back in 2005. I was actually addicted to drugs and alcohol for a long period of time, and I got mixed up with a wrong crowd, let's say. And that crowd, it seemed like I fit in at the time, but emotionally I didn't fit in. So it was like that for many, many years, and I was in and out of jail for like 16 years because of my actions, and I was living on the streets for 7 years. And when I talk about living on the streets, I don't talk about living on someone's couch. I actually physically was living on the streets. I would go in and take someone's, like if they're doing laundry in an apartment building, I'd go in and take some of the warm clothes out of the dryer. I didn't care if it fit. I just stretched it to fit. So that way I just put that on, keep warm, and I throw the snow over top of me, and I have a good night's sleep. And then I get up in the morning and run right to the beer store or liquor store, too. So I lived on the streets for 7 years. I learned hard knocks. And it wasn't until 2005 when I actually started changing my life around. But the thing is, I didn't know how to change my life around. I always wanted to, and it was just because one person started reaching out to me, and they were actually working in Peterborough, actually, at the John Howard Society, one of the bail programs, and I was not on bail. She just knew of me through other people. So she came up to me and she said, can I have a word with you, please? And I guess she's seen the potential in me in that, and she just started asking if she can do the counseling with me. Later on, I didn't know I was actually her first student, her first counseling client. And and it was a prime example of, I'm going to believe in you. Now it's time for you to believe in yourself. So it gave me an ounce of hope, and that ounce of hope led into a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, so someone is breathing life into you, so to speak, and getting you to look at yourself from another angle so that you can really see the true Robert and all the potential therein. So what happens after that?
Well, I mean, she was there when I got incarcerated several times afterwards. She saw I had a knack for drawing. So the drawing, I would actually express myself through drawing. So she actually stood with me, stood beside me, and would always come to the jail and bring me some art supplies. And then when I got back out, she helped me find a place to live. And then I said, that's enough. I mean, I had enough of this stuff. I wanted to get clean and sober. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. but I can honestly say I'm going on 16 years in September, clean and sober. If God allows me to reach that length, I don't see why He won't, because it's just everything I've got going on is just so fantastic now. I'm just loving life. And at the same time, I mean, quit smoking a year later after that. So that's going on 15 years. But in the meantime, what I did was I wanted to fit in society, and that was one of the toughest things I've ever had to do in my life. I had to look at the situation and say, well, I could never do it without a shot of whiskey or a bottle of booze or a bottle of beer, a couple bottle of beers, right? And I could never do it. I could never sit down and have a communication with anybody unless I had that, because it felt like it was my shield, it was my guardian, it was something that was protecting me, that helped me,
right.
False advertising kind of thing. So went from there. So I started going to all these meetings because I ended up going into a treatment center at the end. And they asked me, why do you want to go to a treatment center? I was in Brampton, Ontario at the time. And what happened was I went in for like the 88th time or 87th time in the detox. And I stayed for the week as usual. Normally I'd go in there, stay for the week, dry out, get some good food, a good shower, good rest, and then go back out and do it all again. But the problem is that was starting to wear and tear me. I was really not enjoying it no more. I don't think I've ever enjoyed it. I think it was just a way of dealing with things. I didn't know how to cope. So needless to say, I said, this is the time. I said, I just feel it. I just know it's the time. And before I got off that bus to go into the hospital, because what happens is when you go into a detox, they don't want you going through the DTs and coming off the hard knocks, booze, and drugs at the same time, and you going and having the DTs, right? So I had to go into the hospital. When I went into the hospital, they give you Valium to calm you down, make you relax, be able to sleep. And I said, not a problem. But before I went in there, this really opened up my eyes, because I was getting off the bus, and I was just going down the street. And I heard about my buddy. I was on the bus with someone. They talked to me about someone just got out of jail, and that was one of my drinking partners. I said, heck, if I'm going to go into the detox, why not just put one more round in me? You know what I mean? I said, I got one more round left. And I guess I was talking out loud to myself. And I seen this little girl, and she says, he needs help. And I didn't realize that at that second, but a couple seconds later, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. That hit me like a ton of bricks. So I turned around and I went to the lady. I ran over to the lady and said, "Man, where's that little girl that was just with you?" She goes, "I don't have a little girl or anything. There's no little girl with me." And I said, "Okay, I best get in there." I think that was a sign I get in there. So I got into the hospital. They transferred me over to detox, and I actually stayed there for a couple of months, more than the 7 days. And the reason why is because I wanted to look around for a treatment center that would accept me. Well, this is interesting. It's because now I don't say a coincidence. I say coincidence as God keeping anonymous. And the reason why I say that is because the things that happen in my life, you can't explain. But you have to give the credit to the right person. So when I got there, they said, "Listen, here's a list of numbers that you say you want to go to, that you'd be willing to go to these detox. Start going through them." And I went through about 20 of them. They all said about 3 months or 4 months wait. So I talked to them about that, and they said, "Well, you got a few more left. See what happens. But if you have to stay 3-4 months, we will." I was talking to one of the supervisors there. She goes, "Robert, we've known you long enough. You can stay for the 3-4 months, right? You just have to apply for the welfare and get yourself help pay for stuff around here." I said, "That's not a problem." So lo and behold, I made another phone call, and it was actually where I wanted to go. I just got scared to call it in the first place, and because I knew it was reality was kicking in, right? So I actually called it, and they said, "Well, normally we have a 3-4 month wait, but it just so happens we have an opening this week. Can you make it up here?" I said, "Sure, why not?" So I actually got a bus ticket and went all the way up to Orillia, Ontario. And when I got up there, they only take you in for 3 months. They actually kept me for 4.5 months. I was so angry at the world that they had to do interventions on my anger, interventions on my attitude, the behavior. And then, they wouldn't even let me go out and do as many things as everybody else because I was just so entrenched in the stuff I was doing that they had to break that ice around me.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite interesting.
Mm.
So I started learning the process I like the process of learning when I was actually in that place, in that treatment center. And I thought to myself, well, this is kind of neat. I said, I'd like to get out and get a job when I get out of here. Now, my shoes were all duct taped because I didn't have any money for shoes at the time. So my shoes were all duct taped up, and, there was a guy who was called Brian Adams, not the singer, but he was a counselor for 35 years up in that area. And he's really well known, and he came up to me, took a liking to me, and said, listen, can I see you on an ongoing basis when you get out of here? I said, most definitely. So we did that. We started seeing each other now. He says, listen, what do you want to do? You want to go to school? Or I said, well, I'm going to have to. I don't have any education. I got out when I was in grade 9. So I went to Adult Learning Center. I polished that off. And then I went to Social Service Worker Diploma, got that at Georgian College. Then Lakehead University, I've got my BA in Psychology. And then I did my Master's in Counseling Psychology, my Harm Reduction, Mental Health Crisis. And at the moment, as I speak, I got 4 classes left of my PhD in Integrated Medicine. So, wonderful. I mean, the reason why I did that education, as you'll see on my stuff, I don't put nothing behind my name. It's just Robert J. Moore, no doctor in front. And the reason why I do that is because I want people to have the full value of me. I don't want them sitting there looking at my credentials saying, well, you could do this because you have these credentials. No, I want you to see the value of what I have to offer. Right? I don't do things. I've learned to do things outside the box. Nikki, you see my stuff. I mean, you got to admit, I don't do things like the average people. I do it outside the box to enhance the lives of others.
Yes. Let's talk about that, how you've impacted over 140,000 people in the span of your journey, and the work through Magnetic Entrepreneur Inc. And being a publisher. Tell us how that came to be, and who are the people who are kind of in your circle in terms of this evolution?
Well, when it all started off, it was hard because I wanted to do a book, right? And I figured, okay, well, I'm going to do it for free. I'll just Google it and do it for free. Well, that way of doing it cost me over $50,000. And the reason why I say that is because I went to a small place to get published. I didn't know nothing about being published, but I sure got to learn quick. And what happened was, they ended up ripping me off like $50,000. And I went to the lawyer. They said, you know what? You're new to the game. They're not. If you go and sue them or something, they'll claim bankruptcy and change their name tomorrow. So you really have nothing that you can do about this. But I had proof. I literally had proof, I said to him. He says, yes, I know. I see the proof. And he says, he says, you got them. But the thing is, they're a small business. They're not going to care. They'll claim bankruptcy and away they go. So I said, okay, well, what am I going to do next? So I just started writing another book, and that's when I became a Christian at the same time. So I had to change my language from the first one. The first one was like really raw. It was the way I was feeling at the time. And I just wanted to get a book out there, and I just used a lot of F-bombs and just stuff that wasn't me. It was stuff that it was an act, that from years and years ago I had to put an act on. So when I wrote that second book and started going to church, I started working with the youth out there. And I started seeing how they were working and how they were suffering with things that I went through. Some of the things I never went through, but I mean, I can always talk to them, and it felt warm to me to talk to them and deal with things. So that's the reason why I started going to school, is to learn all about me. I didn't do it to show these credentials. I did it because I wanted to find out why I was acting like I was, so I got to find out all the assignments and all the essays and thesis and everything I did was all on stuff I had to suffer with. So I wanted to learn that, and then I started putting together all these different businesses, titles. So I had like Robert Moore Counseling years ago. Then I had, it was like 2007, I opened up my first counseling business. It was up in Barrie, and it was like RM Counseling. Did that for a year. There was a lot of flaws in it. I was just learning still, and I fell in the trap of different things. My heart was on my sleeve too much, and I realized after 13 years of being a counselor, addiction counselor, that I'm exhausted. All these people come to me, they already exhausted all their money. So the problem is I'm not making money. And there's a government that has programs that actually do this for free. So I realized, well, maybe that isn't for me. And I just kept being the therapist because I was a registered therapist for a long time too. And I was in human behavior. So I could tell the physiology of the face, the body language, the tone of voice, even in a letter, all the different acts in order to help a person out and help them grow. So they're not fooling themselves, right? So I call them on their BS. Right. I'm the kind of guy, you know what, I don't care about your emotions at the time. I care about your business. If you're working with you, I care about your business more than your emotions. We'll deal with the emotions later because if you don't get told straight out, you're never going to learn. So I decide, well, I got to get a coach. And I went to one of these events. It was the weirdest thing I've ever did. I finally went to an event. This guy was, it was almost like another Tony Robbins. It was this event. The guy was up there jumping around, got you moving around pretty good in your blood flow. And the guy who was sitting beside me, was wearing like jeans, were all ripped up. It looked like he was a bum. And I said to myself in my own mind, I said, well, I've been there, so I'm going to treat this guy pretty good and see how I can help him out. Well, I didn't know who he was. I judged him. So later on, he added me to Facebook when he left, and he says, do you remember me? I said, yes, I do. He goes, can we do a live? Not live like just like him and I live, right, on Messenger and that. I said, sure. So I got to see him, and I said, wow, you clean up pretty good. He goes, well, that was just a day I was moving people. He goes, let me introduce myself clearly so you have a clear understanding who I am. The operations manager of Think and Grow Rich. I said, you got to be kidding me. Wow. He was my first coach, the high-end coach. Then I went to Kyle Wilson, Jim Rohn's ex-business partner. I had Les Brown. It's funny because I studied 52 of the top achievers in the world. Now, a lot of them, obviously, they're deceased, and you could just buy into the programs. You could just learn on YouTube. You could learn on different ways of studying them. But at the same time, I said to myself, I'm going to be on with Les Brown. I said to myself, I'm going to be on with Bob Proctor. I'm going to be on with Raymond Aaron. I'm going to be on with all these top people. I didn't expect it to happen in one day, and it did. Wow. It was all in one day. So I had to go outside and digest it, and just let a little hoo-hoo out like real loud one. And then I walked back in. And I started using my therapy on myself by keeping humble. So that led me into, today, this is really kind of cute because Les Brown, I'm certified by Les Brown, and I'm actually coaching his daughter now. Right? Isn't that kind of cute?
Amazing. That is really cute.
Josh Whitaker from the Shark Tank. He was a producer of the Shark Tank. I had the luxury of coaching him for one day. He was a producer of the Shark Tank. Dr. Joe Vitale, his ex-wife. I talked to her for, a little bit. Mr. Canada, Mr. Canada, I can't tell you what year because you'll know who, but I was coaching him for a while. One of the top lawyers in Toronto, I was coaching him for a while. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, you know what? All those years, you never looked at yourself and said you're well and worthy. Well, you really are. You have a lot of potential. Something someone said down the line totally hit me. Put it this way, I make 6 figures just off Facebook alone. Off Facebook alone.
Wow.
Then I got all these. I got 8 different revenues of income coming in. I've built myself up an empire, and I'm just growing. And now I've got 42 books. I always tell people I'm a 5-time international best-selling author, but if you look at the reality of it all, 90% of my books have been out there are bestsellers. But I don't want to tell people I'm like 38, times international bestseller because that doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound too achievable. So if I tell people I'm a 5-time international best-selling author, it's more achievable. So today, I'm also doing my business. At the same time, I've also partnered up with Lori A. McNeil. She's one of the Think and Grow Rich speakers that she does all the platforms with them. And her and I are doing Celebrity You. What we're doing is this is the first in history that anybody's ever done this. She's been in media like 500 times a year. Me, I'm always in another media. I think mine's about 100, 150 times for the year, though. But hers is like 500. And I know business. She used to teach business for 20-something years. So I do the business side of things. I teach people how to empower themselves. I don't care if you're a millionaire. I don't care if you're broke. As long as you have the money to pay me at the time for the coaching, I will upbrand you. I will bring you to that level you need to be brought, because I will tell you how to do it. I will bring you to the level and introduce you to the right people. I was just on not long ago with John Chin. John Chin happens, Sir John Chin, I'm going to call him, because that's what he is. Sir John Chin, and he's the executive producer of Think and Grow Rich, the Legacy movie. Him and I were doing a FaceTime live, just talking like we're best friends. That was, and I said to him, what we're doing, he goes, there's a lot of people watching you. He says, like Forbes Riley, she's been watching you too, guys, just let you know. And he says, they're not the only people watching you. I am too. So these are the top people in the world watching us when we're doing this stuff, because they want to make sure we don't fail. And if we do fail, then it's a bust, right? But, I mean, it's not going to fail because it's so tight right now. We have all the support we got going on to make this happen. What it is when I do the business side of it and she's doing the media side of it, it's the first in Canadian history. It's a certificate program for 6 months. It's amazing. Nobody's ever done it. Nobody's ever done it. We're coming out hardcore with it. We're in beta 1, going in beta 2 right now. And you know what? It's like the people are like, you can't get enough excitement. No. I just hooked up someone just now, 2 seconds when you were typing me to come on the show. I was just actually talking to someone. It was Dr. Amy. She actually works side by side with Robert Kiyosaki, and one of the co-authors of mine too, but she's actually interviewing one of my students that is a very, very high-end student. And you know what? It was just amazing to get her on with her, because they aligned so much. They're very in line. And that would be the ultimate one that I can put her on myself. So just having that connection to her will enhance her life.
Absolutely. I'm just, it's such an inspiration listening to you. It's wow. I can hear the passion, and so much is growing, and more doors just keep flooding open. And I hear it's all because of staying humble, staying in a place of power, and also empowering others, right? And that also releases your power. So it's a very amazing lesson that you're teaching us.
Giving credit where credit due is always warranted too. You know what I mean? Like God's been there for me 100%. I never left God.
Absolutely.
He's never left me. Well, actually, He's never left me. I've always left Him. You know what I mean? Like back then in those days, that was not God, because I didn't allow God in my life. I was so into drugs and alcohol, I didn't even know it existed. But
so now you've given Him all the glory, and look what He's doing, blessing you like in abundance, right?
This is a nice roller coaster, and you know what? I see doors close on me, and it hurts sometimes when those doors close. I'm going to tell you, everybody out there, when you start going through those tribulations and struggles and that, it hurts. But get over it. Trudge through it, because guess what? It's sweeter on the other side. And I'll tell you something.
And you appreciate it more, right?
Yeah, especially if you worked hard enough to do it. Now, the question is, I was asked by Eric Thomas. Him and I were on the phone one time, and I was up north in Washago. And up there it's a banana boat where the big snow comes. You get 3 feet of snow overnight. Now, I had a 1,000-foot driveway, but the problem is on the other side of the driveway, at the beginning of the driveway, is where I had my snowblower. So I had to bury myself out. So I'm talking to Eric Thomas at the same time. He goes, Robert, how bad do you want this? And I said, well, let me just tell you something. I said, each scoop I do is going to clear one part of this path to get down to the snowblower. It took me like 2,000 scoops to clear that path, just a walkway. And then by the time I got out there, I had to blow myself back in because it was a blizzard. So I had the phone in my pocket, but the ear pod in my ear to talk to him. And he's like, you know what? You got this. You got this, buddy. He said, if you can do that and still laugh about it and still be excited about it, he says, your passion is there. Learn your why and then run with it. He says, remember, if you're giving away something for free, you go to the grocery store, for instance. You go to one of these grocery stores, and people sit there with a cheese and cracker. You go up and say, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll try it out for free. Sure, why not? And then you say, wow, this is pretty good. And they say, yeah, right over there is $5.49. The exact same thing I do today. I give my stuff out for free, because it draws the people into me.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You imagine how much I give if they pay, if I'm giving all this stuff for free. It blows people's minds.
Mm-hmm. It is mind-blowing. So, Robert, how can people connect with you? Where can they buy your books? Where can they learn more about the expertise?
Mm-hmm. If you Google Robert J. Moore, you won't miss me. If you Google Magnetic Entrepreneur, Inc., you won't miss me. But if you go on LinkedIn or if you go on Facebook, it's Magnetic Entrepreneur, Inc. Twitter's Magnetic Entrepreneur, Inc. Robert J. Moore is just mine, right? You can still add me on there, ask me questions or whatever it may be. And you know what? I've even had 4 or 5 different publishers at my last event, and Raymond Aaron was one of them. And he told me he was really, really, really amazed because he never seen so much energy in one room all day long. And he's held events for 35 years. And he says, I've never
seen it like that. Never seen the caliber.
Never seen it like that. Nope.
Wow.
And I fill the room.
You do. You have such an amazing presence. It's magnetic. It really is.
It is.
And I wanted to just say that I know that you have, and I want to say thank you so much for the amazing nominations with the Magnetic Awards. Yeah. I know it was originally supposed to happen June 6th because of COVID. It was rescheduled. How is that going with the preparation for the award show?
You know, I'll be honest with you. Now, I separated it because of the COVID, so I just did the summit part of it, which I had Jack Canfield on there. I had Satish on there, which is the CEO of Think and Grow Rich. I had Kyle Wilson on there, Jim Rohn's ex-business partner. Some of these top people in the world, I've had them all speaking on my stage. I shared stage with almost everybody you could think of, every top people you could think of. And the reason why is because I'm not afraid to ask. I'm not afraid to do the work to actually show myself that I'm willing to be a part of it, right? So needless to say, I separate the award part because I think that's only fair to do it in person. You know, it's not fair to do it online and then mail it to the people. It doesn't feel the same. I hold a red carpet event when I do it. I'm just waiting for the COVID to be over, and then I'm going to be doing the big announcement. I'll tell people exactly where we're going to meet. I apologize, though, because, I mean, it feels bad because here I am postponing something which I shouldn't be postponing, but it's out of my hands.
It is.
It's out of my hands. Yeah. So if it happens to be in February, then it's in February. If it happens to be November, it's in November. The winner's already there. I've never announced them. I never will. Because I want everybody that was nominated to come. We're not having speakers that day. We're going to have a get-together. It's going to be a gala. Everybody wears the black ties, the nice gowns. And it's basically I'll have entertainment there. I'll have entertainment there, like a magic show or something. One of the top guys in the world, one of my buddies, Danny Z, he'll come down do a magic for us. And it's a lot of networking.
Excellent. I look forward to it.
For sure.
Robert, I know that, you know, you've been blessed, like I said, in abundance, but can you tell us about your recent little blessing, your son and your wife? How are things going?
Well, I mean, years ago, I was scared to get in a relationship because I lost my partner due to giving birth. So I got like a 29-year-old, 28-year-old, and a 23-year-old. So, you know, it would really bother me to be with someone in that structure again. But, I mean, somehow or another, God blessed me, and I am happily married. I have 3 beautiful kids here that I'm raising. Two are my stepchildren, but they're still mine, I figure. And I still see my oldest son. And my little guy here, oh, man, what a blessing. I tell you, he's good to have around. He's smart as a whip.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to having him share the stage with you very soon. Maybe he could MC some of your award shows. But it's always such a great experience, you know, talking to you. You always motivate everyone you encounter, and I'm really looking forward to, again, seeing you very soon with the live taping and learning more about what you're doing. Like every time I meet you, I think I know something, but you always show me more, and because you're just expanding so much and connecting with these great people, and so much that you can teach us. So I really do appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate your time with us today.
It's an honor. It's an honor there, Nikki.
Awesome.
To be honest with you, I think you're doing exceptionally well, too. It's too bad you didn't win the politics there, but it was close. It was close. I think you would have been a big part of that. I think you would have done exceptionally well there. But needless to say, I mean, if I'm not doing well for others and showing people path the way, honestly, you got to remember, there's always someone to path my way. And if I don't take that opportunity to help path someone else's way, I'm losing everything. Because if I don't share what I have with other people, God's not going to allow me to move ahead.
Exactly.
Right? He's going to have me staying right where I'm at, and I don't like that. I like to be totally open. I like to show people that I'm outside the box thinker. I've had some pretty famous people do some videos for me. I've had Don Green. I was on with Don Green, Napoleon Hill CEO. I was on a call with him a while ago, and he's amazed with me. He says, I've been watching you, and a few other people like Kyle Wilson. He never gets on. He's not a speaker. He never gets on to speak to people. And he says, Robert, because it's you, I'm getting on and doing it. I'll speak for you. And I was like, wow. Jeffrey Gitomer's wife, Jennifer Gitomer, I had her on there speaking too. It was like,
Amazing.
Not a problem. It just goes to show whatever I'm doing is paying off, and the big people are actually noticing me. That makes me feel good. So now I'm being classified on that cloud where everybody else is, and I want people to realize that I'm not forgetting the down where I'm at, where I came from. I don't forget that because I want you guys to come to my level. And that's why I love working with you guys, bringing you guys up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Robert, it's indeed an honor. Always so great talking to you. Again, can you just tell us where can people find you on social media before
Sure.
we go?
Magnetic Entrepreneur on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and Twitter. Robert J. Moore on Facebook. If you Google Robert J. Moore, you won't miss me. You'll see a lot of my books. If you Google Magnetic Entrepreneur, you'll see all my books on Amazon. I'm in 39,000 different distribution centers and probably 10 to 15,000 third-party ones. So, yeah.
Excellent.
And I don't
Excellent.
just publish Magnetic Entrepreneur stuff, by the way. I want to mention that I do publish other people's stuff. I do is I do the editing and everything. I do all the stuff for them. And I do it at a pretty cheap rate because I don't find this competition. What I say is I like to do is keep it at a rate that I'm comfortable charging people, so I don't like to overcharge. I don't like them to have 100% royalties at the end. So whatever book they're doing doesn't have to be Magnetic Entrepreneur. It could be their own book, and I'll publish it.
Okay. Well, I think you've enticed a lot of people there who've got a book that they're ready to birth, but they just want to go to the right people. So that's fantastic. And I might be, let's talk about, I feel a book about to come into manifestation, but just looking for the right connection. And I think we could do it. We could do a magnetic book together.
For sure. I think that would be nice.
Fantastic.
I got right now books on the go and magnetic alone, and I got 10 books on separately from magnetic on the go right now this week.
Wow.
But lucky I built my team up.
You have a team. Wonderful. Yeah, you need a little help there. You can't spread yourself too thin. I know you work very hard.
You knew what I did before is I fired my entire team before. And the reason why I fired them is because I wanted to learn every aspect of my business, and I wanted to learn how to do it properly. So I didn't want to do it to fail. I want to do it to win-win. So I did it. Yeah. I sat there and I hired some of the top people, like Armin Morin. He's the top strategist in the world, a good buddy of mine. He helped me with the marketing. He helped me with, here's what you got to do, this. And then I hired someone to do the other stuff to help me with that stuff. So, I mean, you know how it works.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Robert, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. You've been listening to the Nikki Clarke Show with our very special guest, the CEO of Magnetic Enterprise, Inc. Please reach out to Robert J. Moore on social media. He's got a wealth of wisdom for you, publisher, the whole works, counseling, definitely a powerhouse of a gentleman who can make the connections for you. So, again, Robert, I appreciate it, and I really look forward to seeing you very soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So thanks for listening. You've been listening to the Nikki Clarke Show, transforming lives one story at a time. Everyone, stay safe, stay positive. God bless. Bye for now.